If you are just joining us, you are listening to The Usual Suspects with me, Raz, on this Saturday evening, bringing you the best of local music from Hull and surrounding areas. And remember, if you are looking at getting your music featured on the show, just drop us an email at usualsuspects@humberwave.com and we will sort you out. Or, of course, you can pop into the studio and play a live set. Again, just drop us an email. Now, speaking of having someone in the studio, I am joined by a very special guest today. He was on The Voice UK a couple of years ago, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. I am joined by Vince Freeman. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Ryan. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm fantastic, thank you. So,
Good.
so it all started back then, did it?
Um, to be honest with you, it started sort of way before then, and I guess sort of in answer to your question, when I got asked if I would consider doing The Voice, I was scouted by a talent scout or whatever,
Yeah,
and I wasn't really into the idea, and I think probably slightly naively and perhaps with a little bit of a kind of arrogance. I kind of felt like I'd sort of already been there and bought the t-shirt.
yeah.
Uh, I'd already been touring for like 13 years. I'd won the UK Indie Awards. I'd done shows for Pepsi in Las Vegas, and
Oh,
I kind of,
fantastic.
I was like, yeah, I've done that, and then nothing ever will prepare you for primetime live TV.
No, I can imagine, to be fair.
Yeah. How
Um,
wrong was I? Yeah.
so so before that, then you say you won the Indie Awards. What was
Yeah.
all that about? See, I know my history of you from Google.
Yeah. No,
So
that's fine.
there's a lot that's not on there, which is why we have these interviews. We like to know a
Well,
bit more about
I'm.
people.
My wife tells me that I'm notoriously terrible at actually saying what the things that I've done, and
Yeah,
you know, I you know, for example, I was supposed to tour with Fleetwood Mac uh,
oh wow.
a number of years ago, and I had an email from Mick Fleetwood saying, "Hi Vince, nice to meet you. I'll see you out there on the tour." And I deleted the email.
Oh
Like,
no.
so, like, um, so yeah, so I'm not very good at kind of doing that kind of thing. But yeah, so the Indie Awards it ran for a couple of years, but I guess in sum it was about 120,000 independent acts went in
Yeah,
for it. There's various different categories, and the finals. The winners are chosen by a panel of record labels, industry magazines,
yeah.
etc. And I won the best male solo and the People's Choice Award that year.
Oh wow.
Something I'm very very proud of.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. So, where did your music career begin then? Like, what's your musical background? Was it all from a
I
child?
don't have a musical background. I went to university to study sport.
Oh, that's a bit
Uh,
different.
yeah, and I guess I sort of grew up. I grew up in Plymouth. It wasn't necessarily a rough area, but it wasn't an affluent area, and it certainly wasn't. It wasn't the sort of area where you could kind of go, I like singing, and not expect to be bullied to within an inch of your
Yeah.
life. So um, I kind of, I went to uni, and I didn't know anything about music at all. I got given a guitar as a stocking filler from my mum um, when I was 20.
Oh
So I
wow.
I
So
I I didn't pick up an instrument till then. Um, yeah, so it's funny because I remember I think I was 26 when I first met Ed Sheeran for the first time, and
yeah.
I suddenly realized that like at 16 he was already 10 years ahead of me
Yeah.
because he'd been playing and writing since he was like 6, you know. So
Yes.
I've had a lot to catch up on.
But it just goes to show to all of our listeners as well, it's never too late to pick up a guitar.
No.
I mean, So I only joined my first band this this year last year.
Good
Um,
on you.
yeah, so so it's never too late to start. And in the last couple of months, we've already wrote an album of 8 songs that we're going to get
Yeah.
recorded soon. So it's never too late to start. Ever too late.
No,
Um,
I think for me, like, I mean, I'm not, it doesn't, it's kind of irrelevant sort of how old I am. It's kind of like, I just feel like I've still got stuff to do,
yeah,
and I kind of, I don't think I'll ever be ready to, timetable washing my car on a Sunday afternoon. You
well,
know,
yeah,
I'm continuously fascinated by music,
yeah,
continuously fascinated by the human condition and how fragile and wonderful it is, and also how cruel life can be, and how exhilarating life can be. And I can't imagine a world where I'm not going to be you know not going to be just trying to do different stuff all the time.
yeah.
I don't see the point in slowing down.
Well, no, if you're on an upward trajectory, keep going.
that, that's it.
um, so I mean, what are you doing these days then? After your the voice, and I know you keep touring. You're touring now, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's taking me 20 years to, I guess, in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to be able to say that I've created, that I've recorded and created an album that I will stand by and kind of go, I did this, right? And also more importantly now, I've got 3 kids, and
Yeah,
I, you know, I love the fact that my album's just come out, but it's the album that I wanted to make, that I hope, and I'm really really proud of it, and I hope my kids my children's
yeah.
children, or my children turn around to their children and go, my dad did that, you
It's
know. Um, and so yeah,
wonderful.
so that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. I feel very fortunate to have been able to record this album, and following that, I've been out and about, just speaking to anybody and everybody, and trying to you know what I would love. I don't really have any interest in being a household name, or being on any you know strange TV programs. Um, but I would love as many people as possible to hear this album.
Well,
I
it's
you know
it's
I genuinely think it has something to say. I feel like it has a life of its own, and sometimes I feel like I pinch myself and kind of go, "Oh yeah, I did. I that is my album. I did write it." You know, um, I absolutely love it. I've never been prouder of anything, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm just out touring with Scouting for Girls, opening for them. Meeting new audiences every day, and yeah, just trying to spread the word.
well, yeah, and you're doing what you love as well. So I mean
Yeah,
that's the winning part. Everything else is extra.
yeah.
Everything else is the cherries on top.
And this, I guess I don't want to be too kind of like romantic about this, but aside from that, when I was starting this, having all these meetings with record labels, and all kind of scratching their head, wondering whether they should get involved, and this, that, and the other. And the simple fact is, I remember turning around to one of these really important people, and I kind of said, well, look, you know, get involved or not. And I said, because either way I win, because I get to go home to a wife that loves me, and 3 kids.
Yeah.
I've got a beautiful family. They're crazy, you know. Um,
The best
but
ones are.
it's kind of like, I feel like in my earlier life I spent a lot of time looking the wrong way, and kind of thinking that music was the most important thing in my life. I hope I'm never without music, but it's not. My family, my kids. human connection. That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
in my life. So yeah,
Oh,
winning.
winning.
Yeah,
Hashtag winning.
yeah.
So, I mean, when you picked up that guitar then at 20, how did it go into writing your own stuff and recording your
Almost
first thing?
immediately, I started writing, and but what I mean by that is that I didn't suddenly, I didn't suddenly go, I'm Mozart, like, um, like I wrote, you know, probably hundreds of terrible songs, but
It
I'll tell you
happens.
one thing that, music is for me. Music is a way of me actually just getting stuff out.
Yeah.
I have 10,000 ideas a day that, none of which will tell me anything about who I am. Music helps me kind of like, get those things out into the world.
If you're
And
anything if you're anything like me, I just walk down the street and if I see something that I think that could make a good, I just write down like a couple of words and then go home and write it later.
yeah, yeah. I
Just
mean,
anything.
yeah, I don't, when I'm on tour, I don't tend to write music, but I write lyrics,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
And it's just flashes of inspiration or ideas, and you see something really interesting, or you see somebody helping somebody up off a bench or something like that, and it's kind of like I look for those moments,
Yeah.
and I look for the extraordinary in the ordinary. That's kind of what I like to write about. I guess an example of that is, one of the songs is called Real Love on the album. And, you know, I suddenly, realize I'm getting old. And I remember as a kid um, thinking that I know when I'm old when I stop running upstairs. And that's the sort of, it's weird because it's a bigger concept, but it's kind of like the ordinary, you know,
Yeah.
the ordinary nature of just running upstairs. The lyric is, you know, could I escape from my body today? I stopped running upstairs. You know, and
Well, yeah.
you know, but actually, ultimately, that's kind of like, it's a bit crap growing, getting old for most people, because you start kind of, turning into an aging ninja when you're putting on your socks.
How
And
old are you?
everything. Hey,
How old
oh,
are you?
maybe, yeah. I'm 46, nearly 47.
Oh,
Um,
fair.
um, yeah, but loving life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
loving lad. To be
loving it.
fair, I would have put you a lot younger than that. So,
Oh, bless you. I'll take it all day.
but it does get like that after you hit 30, I think. I mean, as soon as I hit 30, I had like a leg injury and then I couldn't move for a while. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
so this is 30 then. This is the this is the sell by date.
yeah. I think a lot of people, especially as you get a little bit older, you start doing things like thinking about those kind of things. But actually, I wouldn't change a bit. I wouldn't go back. I loved I love the life that I've had, but I wouldn't go back.
No, no.
I like where I am now.
Well, yeah.
I think I guess that's sort of possibly a theme on the album. Acceptance. Just
Yeah.
being okay with being okay. You know,
And what's the new album called? Where can we find it?
Scars, Ghosts, and Glory.
Stars,
Um,
Ghosts, and Glory. Where's the name come
yeah,
from?
and that's it is a life. It has taken over 2 decades to write this album. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think I could have written this album 10 years ago. I might have been good enough as a songwriter to write it, but I don't think I could have written about some of the things that I've written about in the album.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, you can go to all the various different streaming platforms, um, or you can make an independent musician really happy and buy something.
Oh
Um,
yeah, get out to the shops and Go get the
Yeah,
CD or the
yeah.
vinyl
So
if you've got it on vinyl.
rather than kind of go through my various socials and this, that, and the other, just if you can remember my name, Vince
Yeah.
Freeman, or just add a .com to that, and you'll find me, and you'll find, you know, all my socials, my events, and most importantly, my shop.
Exactly. Get that plugged.
Yeah,
But no, absolutely great. And yes, so your new album's out. You can go purchase it at shops. And of course, what was I going to say? You're currently touring as well
yeah,
with Scouting for Girls. Have you got any upcoming
yeah.
tour dates around the UK?
Sorry.
Have you got any upcoming tour dates around here, or have you?
To be honest with you, it's such a big tour. I could, I mean, the next one's Coventry, and I think the next one after that is Stoke. Um, but then there's another like maybe 15, 16 dates. It's a 32 date tour around the UK. It's a monster. I
The
mean, it
Monster
like
Tour.
anybody who anybody who thinks Scouting for Girls were kind of like popular 15 years ago would be right and completely wrong at the same time. Because if you go to a Scouting for Girls show, you'll see that they're one of very few acts in the country that can sell out a 30 to 33 date tour. And the average audience is like probably about 1,500 people
Well, yeah,
in. It's madness, and
they have
and
some
I
fan
feel very grateful to be in front of large audiences every night.
and they're still a big household name. They had some fantastic songs. They still have some fantastic songs. And
Yes.
if they came near, I'd go see them. And I was actually just quickly having a look at your tour dates. You are actually coming near to here. So if anyone is interested in seeing Vince Freeman and Scouting for Girls on where are we? What year are we? um. Oh no, lost the page. But check his website anyway. You'll be able to find some tour dates. I think I saw um, one nearby on there. But yes, check out.
Sorry, I can't help you, but I'm currently doing this on an iPad, and yeah.
No worries at all. So, what was your biggest inspiration for this new album? Then you say it's been kind of like a decade in the making.
Yeah, my biggest inspiration. Wow,
I know it's a
that's a
tough one.
really yeah. It is a tough one. I guess the thing is that this album is like a palette of my childhood, my adolescence, my mid 20s, and my life up to now. Like, I think if people listen to it, they will hear elements of like everything from old school hip hop, NERD, Eminem and stuff. And don't let me that scare people, because actually I'm just talking about like rhythmic sections.
Yeah,
And then there's elements of kind of like David Gray, True and Breaks, and it's uh
some
yeah,
great inspirations to have.
the sound of the album is kind of like a palette of the stuff that I loved, growing up. Ryan Adams, Bruce Springsteen, David Gray, True and Breaks, Damien Rice, Tracy Chapman, and everything from that to Olivia Rodriguez, Dua Lipa. Like, um, I, my palette tends to span across quite a lot of genres, and
Best
but
way
it
to be.
yeah,
Have a nice mix.
I feel very thankful that it doesn't feel like an album that is kind of like, it doesn't have an identity. It has a very specific sonic signature, and it kind of that runs through the album, which is great, considering I'm just talking to you about like, oh yeah, so it's got like hip hop in it, and it's got this in it, and it's got this in it, it's got this in it. It actually ties together as a quite a quite coherent overall sound, which I love. You know.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And is there any advice you could give to the musicians listening? So, our show called The Usual Suspects, it's a local musician show for up and coming artists. Is there any advice that you could give them?
Uh,
Another
don't
tough
chase
one, I know.
clouds.
Don't chase clouds. That's a good one.
Yeah, like I mean, what I mean by that is like, don't look at the TV and and think, oh yeah, I want to be that,
Yeah.
because it isn't. And you know, you I feel like the music industry is one of the hardest industries to be in, not necessarily to be successful in, to just be in. It's a hard mistress, and I think as long as you love music enough for the 5% of wins you get, because you got to love it enough to get through the 95% of losses.
No, that makes sense.
you know, I mean, that's the only advice I could give, really.
And if it,
I absolutely, I'm challenged. I have a love affair with music and songwriting, and if that ever changed, I don't think I would be doing it, because it's too much, you know. But just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
yeah,
It's
do it for the passion for music. That's
exactly that. Yeah, yeah,
everything else should follow or
yeah.
can follow, could
That's
follow.
it. That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and doing it because it's what you love. Um,
exactly that.
I have just had a look on the Scouting for Girls tour dates. If you are still touring with them in November, they are actually coming to Hull City Hall. So I don't know if
Oh, I
you're
think
still...
that's the last date.
Oh, brilliant. So Hull
Yeah,
City Hall on the 16th of
that's
November.
it. Yeah,
Perfect. So we
big
can
one.
you come in right by us. We
Yeah,
can come and see you. Brilliant.
beautiful.
Right, it has been absolutely fantastic talking to you, and I wish you all the best success with the new album and with all your future ventures and your tours as well. And we are going to
Great stuff.
play one of your songs, I believe, called "Passing By."
That's it.
A beautiful
Perfect.
song, absolutely fantastic song. Thank you very much for being on the show, Vince, and
Thanks, man.
no
Thanks,
worries.
Ryan.
Take
Take
care.
care. All the best.
All the best.
Cheers.